And
Hi, everybody.
good afternoon, evening.
Hello, Ginger Ninja.
We are here, Chris and Laura, with two old people, as by request. I don't think you're that old, probably, but it's a catchy name, right? Probably
That's what
younger
people
than we
tell
are.
us.
Huh? Yeah.
That's what people tell us. They say, "Oh, that's a good name."
It is. It's a very good name.
So I saw some of your guys'
That's
stuff
what
and
people
I
tell us.
was interested
Hi.
because um, I liked your guys your little news snippets that you do, and I find that to be pretty interesting. And I just thought, well, it's interesting to see that a lot of people on here are like minded. It's not just a bunch of automatons running down the road and with conformity. And I mean, I don't know. It's just in this day and this time right now, you see a lot of people are.
I can only.
Is that for your anonymity, or is that to hide your identity? What's that for?
Well, Karen, our producer, she
Uh-huh.
was up in the booth and she's all worried about the CV and everything. So she thought those would be good for us to wear, but we
For
didn't
protection.
for protection. But we didn't want to wear them. But then we thought, oh, we'll start the show with them one time. So
We did.
they were cheap, so we bought them just to be
Hello.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Um, I do find it interesting. You guys were talking. We watched that a little bit this morning.
Yeah.
Um, what you guys were talking about is you were having some early celebratory afternoon drinks yesterday. It looked like.
she, yeah, she was bad yesterday.
That's okay. We're all.
Never done that before.
Yeah.
She works with 1-year-olds so all
Oh.
week long, so
Yeah.
she deserves it.
Yeah.
So now you're off for the whole Thanksgiving break. Is that what you're off for?
Yep. Mhm.
Nice.
Nice.
What are you guys in the north, the south? If you can be specific as you want.
Yeah, we're in El Reno, Oklahoma, which is just west of Oklahoma City, about 25 miles just west
Nice.
of Oklahoma City.
Okay. Been over to Tulsa quite a few times through Oklahoma City. Um, yeah, it's nice country over there. Not too far east of here, really. Used to travel over there. I think did you say you drive too? You drive truck?
I used to drive a satellite truck for news and sports. I would
Okay.
set up the truck and I would beam the football games back to, or basketball games, or
Right.
sporting events or news events. You know, if you saw somebody live before the cell technology got good enough, you had to have a satellite truck to get your signal back to the stations and everything.
Okay.
So my truck got the signal back to anywhere in the United States.
Oh, wow.
Nice. So you did that for a good bit, and then what are your current? You're
Anywhere in the
retired
United
now,
States.
semi-retired. Nice.
I am semi-retired. I'm a janitor for third graders and fourth graders. And
Nice.
so we both work for the school district now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, there you go. So you got you got that good time off plan.
Well, I do. He has to work
Yeah.
year round, but I get off when the kids are off.
I got to go in. I work year round, and she has off the full week. I have Thursday and Friday off, but I go in Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But there's no kids, so it's kind of a time. It's like having off. I'll just go in there and catch up on the little things here and there, but not work too hard.
Nice. So what did you enjoy most when you guys were out in Centralia? What was your go-to, or what did you like out here or out in the West compared to, are you guys originally from Oklahoma?
No, I'm originally from just south of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and from Peters Township. And she grew up here in El Reno, Oklahoma, and the military brought me out to Oklahoma. And then after I got out of the military, we went up to first Pennsylvania, then up to Washington State. And I'd say we'd like doing outdoor stuff whenever we were younger. We did a lot of camping. We'd go to the backside of Mount St. Helens a lot. we made good friends with a campground guy up there. I fixed his ice machine, so he would always let me have one of his cabins if he wasn't busy. And I put in like 6 hours of work during the day, and the kids and Deb would go run around, have fun, and then we'd all do something in the evening together. So that was our main bag. And they had a little park down there in Centralia. We like to go. They had like raspberry. We'd pick a lot of raspberries down there and stuff like that. Just get outside.
Nice. Yeah, it's definitely pretty country. Mount St. Helens is really nice. It's yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy it over there for sure. Mount St. Helens. Yeah, just
Mount
Mount
Rainier.
Rainier too. Mount Rainier is
Mhm.
really nice. So you were in the military, what branch?
I was in the Air Force stationed here in Oklahoma City at Tinker Air Force Base.
Nice.
Nice.
So you had your Air Force mittens, your standard Air Force mittens issued to you, correct?
What's that? The Muckalucks? I don't know. What? No.
Your Air Force mittens.
He's
you know,
Army, so
Okay. You mean, are you trying to allude that we had it cush? Is that where you're leading with this?
no, just we couldn't put our hands in our pockets, so all the time we
Oh,
talk about the Air Force guys because they'd walk around with their hands
Oh,
in
yeah,
their
yeah.
pockets, and
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
yeah, so we always call them Air Force mittens. So hey, do you have your Air Force mittens on?
what?
It's jealousy,
No,
really. That's all it
I
is.
got in trouble. We were like kind of almost the Army of the Air Force. We were like a MASH unit that did communications, and I did satellite. I ran the satellite van, and we did some exercises once or twice with the Army. And I got in trouble one time because I just had my chin strap. I think what did they call it? A guide guard or something weird like that.
A gag
It- it-
guard?
a guide.
guide
and
a
shrunk
guide guard.
strap.
I don't
Oh.
know.
Huh.
I had it just dangling down, and he was like, "Put your guide guard on," and I'm like, "What are you talking about, guide guard?" You know, I'm like, he's like, "Your chin strap. You got to have it buttoned up at all times." I'm like, well, all right.
Right.
So the Army guy was busting on me.
Nice.
Yeah, it's mostly because I think they're jealous just by name. I mean, I was jealous. I went to Shepherd Air Force Base for my schooling.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was really nice. I mean, the food was really good, and and the Air Force has cute girls, not like the Army, you know. So, Air Force guys had it made.
Yeah. I had a friend. I did it all backwards. I went to college first, and then I joined, but I went in and enlisted because I wanted to work on the equipment. If you went in as an officer, you would be a paper pusher.
Right.
So I went in enlisting still, but my buddy, he joined the Air Force and he was on Pope. So I visited Pope Air Force Base, and
Mhm.
Bragg was right across the street. And because he had the C-130s that took the 82nd Airborne, places. So they were married right together. And Pope was like a country club, and Bragg was all older buildings. I'm like, I'm going Air Force.
Yeah. Yeah, you were smart. So you got it going on there for sure. It was how long did you do?
I was 24 years whenever I went in. I did 4 years. So I got out whenever I was 28. So 24 years old to 28 is
Okay.
how old I was. And I did 4 years.
Nice. Well, that's good. And did you guys meet when you were there, or was that
Yeah.
Yeah, we
She-
met while he was stationed at Tinker, two-stepping.
Yeah. It was a country bar, ladies'
Right.
night. So
Of course.
she got in
Right.
free, and it was a penny. It was $6 like for us to get in, and a penny of beer. So for both of us to be out there, it was $6 and like 6 cents or something like that. So, I danced with her once, and then we ended up going on a date or whatever. But what I liked about her best is because she got free beer, I was like, well, do you want a mixed drink or something nice? She goes, no, I love beer. And I said, okay, well, I'm dating this girl.
she's the girl that doesn't work on her.
No.
She's the girl for you.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, there you go. So another
Orange PA. Okay.
another Pittsburgher. Is that such a thing, a Pittsburgher?
Yeah. I don't know. Pittsburghese. I don't know.
I don't know.
Kind of
But
like
as you could say, if I said Yin's guys, they would know what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
That's our
Yin's
slang
guys?
for you all in Pittsburgh was Yin's guys.
Okay.
Is that kind of like Ewan's?
Yeah, I think it's
Ewan's and what's the other one? Ewan's. There's another one that's similar to that. So when so you're the Grumpy Grandpa. You have Grumpy Grandpa channel, and so what's that devoted to? What's your grumpiness
started out-
in general?
I started out just to reach younger kids and try to, just, tell them how to respect and all that stuff like that. But I'm just an old guy, so I got nobody watching it. So I've kind of morphed it into more of a, just going on. We do the news, but I get a little bit more in depth on Grumpy Grandpa and maybe do things that aren't so
The stuff that
welcomed in the YouTube world. So I've been doing stuff over there like that. But I haven't done anything here lately. We've been working so hard that, by the time we get done with two old people on a couch, we're tired by the end of the week by doing 3 shows. We're just like, I'll do one Sunday on something.
Yeah, we're going to do something Sunday. And he started doing interviews with people, which have been good from different parts of the states and stuff like that. So he's done a couple of those. So he's kind of going more that direction.
Which would be
go ahead. You get to talk on your channel about stuff you want to talk to that you're not allowed to talk about on the main platform, huh?
Yeah. There's no way I'll ever get monetized, so I just do anything over on that side.
Yeah, I mean I kind of like that. I mean, because I'm so fed up with and that was another reason why I liked you guys' stuff too, is that so fed up with all of the, well, you can't say this. Let's go, Brandon. But I say it.
You just said it.
Yeah, and I mean, although it doesn't say anything about you can't say it, it may be changed between last week, but the idea though that you can't talk about certain things because it's misinformation, and it's interesting, and it's galling, and it's
you can't talk about the jab because that's misinformation.
You can't talk about Chinese people and diseases and and wherever they may come from. And
I enjoyed your Laura's video that she did the other day about what was going on at school, and I can sympathize. Like I say, here we're back to, we had an open Thanksgiving dinner for the 3rd and 4th where they can invite their families. They're packed into the cafeteria, no masks, no nothing.
Yeah.
And man, it's just, and they did something for the veterans, which was really nice. They had a special for veterans at breakfast time. It has breakfast and everything for the veterans just a couple of days earlier. So it was it's so nice to have all these community events going again. And I can sympathize with you, Laura, and your kids and everything you're going through up there. And I could feel the weight on your shoulder of just the mess that they got going on up there.
Yeah, it is a mess.
It is a mess. And the sad thing really is that it is all political. It's not, if any of this was about health, people wouldn't be able to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day. They wouldn't be able to consume more calories in one meal, for one fast food meal, suppose, with all the sodium and everything else and the fat and everything else. It's horrible for you. And again, it's our choice, and it always should be our choice. But the point is that if the political people cared so much about people's health, there'd be a lot of things that wouldn't be permitted.
Yeah.
And it's that double standard and the hypocrisy. Pelosi and her ice cream fridge, and and completely out of touch, completely clueless. The rules for me and not for thee. It's all of that stuff, and I think that's what a lot of people are kind of responding to really across the country. So when we looking for our property, I went back to Tennessee in September and went to see my brother. I suddenly had some free time on my hands, so I made use of it, and so went back to Tennessee, saw my brother, sister-in-law, nieces and nephews and stuff, and and then just kind of started looking. I was like, wow, it's nice back here. And then, 4 subsequent trips after that, well, it was only 3, but we bought our property, and just because, again, it's not here.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know, it's just the politics. The politics, I think, are grinding, and a lot of people say, well, I don't really care about politics, and it's like, I don't get it, simply because it's your whole life is defined by what these guys are doing.
It's affected by politics.
Yeah, exactly. And I've said it on here before, but I had a accounting professor who would say, poly meaning many, and ticks meaning blood-sucking insects. So,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
which is pretty fitting. But so I do like that. So you get to go on your show and say what you want to say, and you talk about the things that you want to talk about, and then you just go with it. Which that's the way I mean, this should be that way. It shouldn't be that people are getting shut down because they have an opinion that's contrary, to the people that are willing to just go along with everything. And what's really interesting is the fact that you can tell, I can tell here very easily, you can tell the people that are just, I don't know, followers, sheeple, whatever you want to call them, but just morons, really, is what I call them. But, and they're driving along in their car and they have their mask on. There's nobody else in the car, and they're driving along in their car with their mask on.
And sometimes it's a respirator looking like device.
Yeah.
People are really afraid around here, and it's I mean, if you walk when the masks were lifted for just a little while, of course we didn't wear them, and you'd walk by somebody and they'd give you the dirtiest look, and as we're seeing some stuff around the country and here, if you walk into a store without a mask on, they yell at you. You're going to get screamed down.
It's a little different now. I mean, you see people here now that are just over it, and you don't see it very often, though. You don't see it very often that people don't have their mask on. I mean, you go in the grocery store, and most everybody does. I mean, I do. I just don't have the mental bandwidth to sit here and try to convince anybody of anything. It's ridiculous, and it's the whole chicken and egg, but reverse perverted, which is you need the masks work, so you need to use them, but you need to be vaccinated. But then if you're vaccinated, you need to wear a mask, and then you need to wear a mask while you're vaccinated with double mask, because you might give it to other people, but you shouldn't be able to give it to them because you're vaccinated, and that's the whole idea of the shot. But none of that works.
That is, you just wrapped up our whole show right there. That's what we talk about.
Right.
No, it's ridiculous. And what's good about here is the people, like whenever it first started, we were still going into Walmart. I didn't wear it. I held out until they mandated it and put a person out front to do it. And nobody gave anybody, nobody was given the evil eye. Like if some people were wearing it, some people weren't, at first, right? And then, but after the mandate went away in Walmart to where you could go back in there without a mask on, I was the first one, man. I'm like, yeah, this is great. So I'm back in there, and it was always good because nobody gave you a hard time. And then whenever another guy was passing you without a mask on, or a woman, you just smiled at each other like, yeah, we're not buying that crap. No words had to be said, but we would just smile at each other saying, yeah, we're not wearing the stupid mask, and we all just, without talking, we said that to each other just by smiling. So there's a bond of, the people that weren't buying into it.
Right. And I think there's a lot of people. Part of my point was with going back. Well, one of my points was going back and forth across the country was the fact that during that time, election season, silly season, stupid season, whatever you want to call it, they just leave it up for a second. People don't necessarily read that fast or pay attention. The funny thing is regardless, if you like Trump, don't like Trump, it doesn't matter. He was effective, but the problem is that he was such a buffoon that he's not likable. But he was effective, and anyway,
His
the point
policies
is,
were good.
what's that?
His policies were good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you can't take that away from him regardless. I mean, there's a lot of people that have Trump derangement syndrome. And it's ridiculous. Um, it's ridiculous. But the interesting thing is, going across the country again, I drove 4 times. There was hardly ever any Biden Harris. I mean, literally never. You go across the whole country and it was all Trump. And it's interesting, and for the record, I hope he doesn't run, because he's going to cannibalize the party. You know what I mean? Because he's too divisive. Ron DeSantis, everybody, I think he's a favorite. We'll kind of see how that plays out. But he's very well spoken, and not only that is he gets things done, and he's not afraid to stand up, unlike Mittens Romney.
Yeah. As soon as somebody shot, most people would bow out and quit the election as soon as somebody said, "Oh, you did this," and he's like, "Yeah, I don't care."
Right.
I'm still running. Sorry. Where other politicians, all they do is get one little, thing, and then their whole party is like, "You need to back down. You need to get out of there." And I mean, he's kind of wasn't very popular with the Republican Party either. So yeah, he wasn't going to listen to them if they told him to get out either. He was like, "Nah, I'm in this for the duration."
Right, and it'll be interesting to see. I'm hoping, but here's the thing, and what I want to say is, and I'm nobody. I'm a nobody, but I'm my own nobody. So, but the point is that term limits have to have term limits, because regardless how
Absolutely.
much DeSantis might be a great guy, no matter Lindsey Graham, who cares? I mean, he's just another a career politician. Patrick Leahy, he's going to retire, and it's like, you shouldn't have been there for 50 years already anyway. And that's the system. The system is broke. It needs to be fixed. And we're not going to ever get that unless we get term limits and we get these people back in our communities serving under the laws that they make,
Right.
To me,
Let's just start with the Constitution. It's, that's a pretty finite, idea of how this is all supposed to work. And we're far from it.
Well, yeah, exactly. And yeah, not only that, but it's even the Constitution, it's rule of law, basic rule of law. We just had a guy here early this week or last week who was shooting at another car, and the police took him in, they released him, and
Hey, Courtney.
told him to he couldn't be around alcohol, and he was already a felon in possession of a firearm. And they literally released him. The news looked into it. It wasn't a crowding issue or anything like that. And they literally just put him right back on the street.
That's
and it's
crazy.
like, well, and for here particularly, that's why people like us, and we're not the only ones that are leaving the crap zone, the Communist Republic and anti-fascist of Portland. We're not the only ones leaving here, but we're super excited for that.
Yeah, the condos downtown Portland are almost vacant. I mean, people are living there.
Yeah. Anybody with money is out of there.
Yeah.
Well,
they're not protected. So
well, yeah, and that's
the businesses aren't.
Right, and that's a big problem is that they aren't protected, and businesses are continually getting broken into. 3 years ago, it was like catalytic converter thefts were like 50, let's say 100. I don't even think it was that many. I think in the last year, there's been over 3,000.
Right. And then
And
the murder rate is higher than any other.
there's been more murders in Portland in I think it's recorded history. We broke the record that was from 87, and that was 70. And now I think it's at
75 this year so far.
75, and we still got a month to go.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
it's really crazy too, because the good people of Chicago must be sending all their guns over here to Portland, because we're like Chicago each weekend. You know, and you want to talk about an absolutely broken and horrible system. It was, what, 2 weeks ago, the headline, you know, you get the headline from Chicago. 2 weeks ago, the headline was 50 people shot, 10 killed over the weekend.
Yeah.
And that's the headline that comes out of Chicago. And somehow this is okay. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, Obama's home turf and Rahm Emanuel, the great saviors. And, you know, this stuff is pervasive in their city. And
Yeah, they want.
and why?
Well, they want it that way. They're okay with. They like the chaos. They like the people. I mean, they want to ruin America and bring everything down. They want to get rid of the middle class.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, they're happy that most of those people aren't middle class. They're lower income, and they've already brought them down to where they want. So, you know, it worked well. And
separation, and you know.
Yeah.
That's how the communism works.
Well, yeah, they're trying to get rid of the middle class, because then you have the ultra wealthy, which we have a lot of ultra wealthy people, and then also then you have the people that are in abject poverty, like at Venezuela.
Yeah.
You know, you have no farther to look, and these people keep talking about it. You have Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren, Sandy Cortez, the Ethiopian sister, brother married her brother a couple different times.
Yeah.
And
Omar,
what their names are, I can't mention, but you get the idea.
Okay, yeah, I got it. I just said one word. I didn't say the whole name, so maybe it won't.
Right, you won't get flagged by the communists.
Well, you won't get flagged.
Hopefully I won't. Hopefully she won't. I don't care.
He's going to be in trouble.
I'm always in trouble.
I get in trouble whenever I go into Whiskey and Sunshine's lives, because Scott, he'll talk politics too, and his wife just sits there like, let's talk about homesteading, okay?
Yeah, that's so. Do you guys homestead, by the way? Is that part of what you're doing, or are you just hanging out on the couch all the time?
We're just hanging out on the couch. No,
we live in town. Go ahead.
Yeah, we live in town, so we have a very small place, and but I prep, so
nice.
So
we're coming to
get
your house.
Yeah, everybody come to my house, because
we're good Christians.
People say that they won't prep, but they will just go visit the people's houses. Prep. Yeah.
Well, I keep telling her we're good Christians. We're not going to let the people starve unevenly around us. So even though we got all this stuff, we'll end up giving it all out.
Evenly.
Yeah. We'll die a couple days later because we'll give everything away.
Yeah.
So we'll survive 3 extra days.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point that you bring that up, because I think that we're
Christians too.
Yeah, and not only that, but I think that the point is that when I think about investing, and it's kind of the same way, like you're talking about prepping, in the sense, well, a little bit different, but the point is that people often say, well, I wouldn't know what to invest in, what would I do, how would I do it? For me, it's really simple. I just look at companies and I think, well, Ford, for example, was at $7, and I said to myself, Ford historically used to be around $30-40 a share, and I'm like, well, okay, it makes sense to me that Ford isn't going away anywhere, and then it's a product that I like. It's a product I like, so I said, well, we'll buy some Ford stock. But the point to that is that if the whole system collapsed, and then we're talking about the whole prepper idea as well, but if the whole system collapsed, it doesn't matter because money's going to be worthless and you're going to have to go get what you can get by fishing, by hunting, by trading, by bartering, whatever means necessary, and it won't matter at that point.
It's what somebody, we were just talking about that today and watching some bit, and we kind of already know this, but it's what you have in your hands that matter. It's going to be doing no good being, in the bank or anything like that. If you buy gold, if you don't have it in your possession, it's just a piece of paper saying you have gold. It's like you have to have it in possession. Some things, we still have our money in the banks and stuff like that, but we have stuff in possession in case something happens.
Yeah, but if the system collapses, things are going to get bad fast for people that don't know anything, that don't have the ability to raise their own food, or And we do. My parents, or my mom now, we have a farm that's not. It's right outside town, so it's not like we're resourceless. No, no. But anyway, we do have.
Visit.
Yeah, you can anytime. Anytime.
Listen, if we were younger, I would have definitely, knowing what I know now, I would have homesteaded. I would have had more land, and I would have had bought in the tractors and had all the supplies I needed ready to go to, be self-sufficient more than I would be. But, it's, I'm not saying it's too late. It's just, it would be a lot to invest to get up and going and a lot of hard work, as it's just a lot of hard work. And it's like, it's a little too late for me, I think.
Well, you're old now too. So, I mean,
yeah, we have our land in Tennessee that's raw, and
so
we know we're looking at infrastructure costs and all of that, and
it gives me all kinds of fits thinking about this and thinking about that, and how are we going to do this? How are we going to accomplish it? But the interesting thing is that all of our gigantic homestead that we have here in the crop zone is a 1/4 acre. But in that 1/4 acre, I mean, we raised 40 chickens, meat chickens, raised and processed them. We have meat rabbits. They're just kind of as a backup plan. But we have chickens and we have turkeys. So we've done all that on just our literally, and it's weird because I don't know how well this will work, me doing it like with my pen, but the point is that our house would be here, and anyway.
I got it. I totally understand. No.
A piece of pie.
Well, I mean, we have trees that are backed up to our southern facing. It's all big, tall trees. So literally just on each sides of our house is where we have, I know they can't see that.
Right.
On each sides of our house, we have a little bit of area for sun. And on one side, it's kind of like a park. It's lands. I mean, it's really nice. It's, but that's kind of the like you said, and then the funny, what do you call it? Oh yeah, the mullet, what is it? Party in the back and business in the front. It's kind of the same.
Yeah.
We have a side. The other side is animals and the garden, most of the garden, and then some garden on the other side. But we have really minimal light, and
we grew tons of food.
Lots of food, and all of this stuff was in response to COVID, and I started watching Doomsday Preppers when it came on, and I really liked the show, but I was like, well, that's stupid. Chrono mass ejection. Oh, I'm preparing for a chrono mass ejection. It's like, well, what if it didn't happen? What? Oh, well, then you're prepared for whatever else is coming along.
Fishes.
Yeah.
But I liked the show, but of course it's a show, so it has to be dramatic. But the point is that people are prepping, and it showed the people prepping, and the results were, hey, people are prepping because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is the bottom line, which is the good premise behind prepping, being prepared.
Right.
I always joke with Debbie because she's bought a ton of the the freeze dried or not,
Yeah.
whatever, the dehydrated food.
Mhm.
Not,
Right.
it's like, suppose, I'm sure it lasts long, but it has a lifespan of 25 years or something like that. So I said, like, in 24 years, we're gonna have, I know what I'll be eating, because we'll probably still have it.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of dried food for a year, I guess.
Well, yeah, and I mean, again, it's going to allow you time, and it's going to
Yeah.
afford you time and opportunity to get other things going
Yeah.
at the same time, which is what the important thing is to be able to have time. Really, it's just the element of
Good
time,
point, Sojourner.
is the. But again, it is being prepared. It is taking care of your
Yeah.
family. It is the self-reliance,
Mhm.
where we've seemed to. It doesn't work.
Sorry.
We seem to have lost that in spades, and people are, I mean, they say right now that people, if most of the people, I forget the percentage, but most of the people couldn't come up with $300. If you told me, if you came to my house and said, I need you to come up with $300, well, I couldn't do that. Sorry, guys, I don't have any money. But suppose, theoretically speaking, most people, they say, can't come up with $300 if they needed to for a genuine emergency, actual cash, or money in the bank, debit card, or check, etc. And that's pretty sad. But what are they doing? It's like, well, what are you doing if you can't, if you couldn't do that, if you have some emergency, and I don't mean lots of money, none of us are rich
Yeah.
here.
Your car breaks down, even.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? Anyway, I find that interesting that most people couldn't access $300 if they needed it.
Yeah.
Thanks, God.
So, but yes, prepping, I think, is a big thing, and I think in the homesteading community, it's big as well. I mean, I
Mhm.
guess that's if you want to look at it in and of its in a nutshell, that's really what it is, right?
Yeah.
The ancestors back in the day, they couldn't go over to Walmart and go pick up 20 pieces of 20 anythings, really, if they didn't have it.
Yeah.
No, that's one thing we've done. Whenever I was making good money and everything for all those years, we have just the most modest little house it's a nice small town. It's not like we're in a city or anything. It's just a small town. But
Yeah.
I'm still driving my 1989 Mitsubishi Mighty Max that I bought brand new when I was building houses right after college, right before I joined the military. I still got it out there. I don't care.
Nice.
It's like people, and here in Oklahoma, a small truck is just they all have full size trucks and everything. So I'm driving around my little, I'm like, I love it, man. I was like, but we've lived within our means and stashed away, for retirement. And that's why we're both working at the school district. We've got our retirement kind of built up. It's a little bit early, but the COVID kind of changed my plan there. So
Right.
we both have our insurance, our health insurance with the school, and we're breaking even and a little bit better. So,
Right.
that's all we got to do for the next 10 years. We don't have to make a ton of cash because we prepared for, and have it all, set away.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, that's awesome. I mean, that's kind of I mean, and really, in many ways, that is kind of the American dream. I mean, this idea that you guys are comfortable, you have what you want, you have what you need. I mean, I think that's kind of the whole point with most folks in this country is we have to invent problems because we don't have enough real problems, or people do. I don't want to be part of that group, but people invent problems because they don't have enough real problems. But that's awesome that you guys have that, and you have that mindset. I mean, we're happy here. I mean, we have a wonderful house that we never would have thought we would have had a quote unquote nice house. I mean, and it's nothing special, but it's very comfortable. I mean, it's not our house anymore. I mean, we sold it, but but it was a nice house when we had it.
Yes. Yeah.
Now it's somebody else's problem. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But you know, but we're very thankful and happy
Blessed,
with
really.
yeah, and blessed and with what we have, and that's kind of that's always been our goal as well, is to live, you know, below our means. And you know, then anybody that does that, if you live below your means, you always have money. I mean, the money isn't an issue then. Now, it doesn't mean you're Bill Gates rich, but look at Bill Gates. Who'd want to be Bill Gates anyway, right?
And
What a lifestyle.
no, I don't know. Man, he starts doing those evil fingers. Boy, I like whenever they start interviewing him and he don't like the questions. He'll just be kind of laid back like this, and he'll sit back up and his fingers will start twisting and bending like
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
Have you ever seen that?
No,
I
haven't. I
it's
guess
funny.
I haven't paid that much attention to him, but it's
yeah.
go ahead.
Ever since I won't get into it on this show, but
Okay.
ever since the CV started, BG, as we like to call him, he's played a big role in it, from what I gather.
Well, I mean, he's persona. He's a PNG, persona non grata in Africa, because of all his wonderful philanthroparian and humanitarian. That's not a word, probably, but it sounded good. A philanthroparian, his philanthroparian lifestyles and whatnot, but yeah. So, but it's interesting though. But at any rate, back to the point is that, you know, you live on less than you make, and you'll always be well off.
Yeah.
And
Now, I thought it was interesting. What's that? Was it either a rapper or a singer?
I have to be a little more.
where
yeah, I know who you're talking about.
where the people died.
Oh yeah, down in Houston. Don't say his name. Just keep.
Yeah.
You probably.
We know who you're talking about.
We know exactly here. I've been looking into that too. I dabble in all that.
Yeah, there's
all the symbolism out there, and the demonic symbolism is everywhere. It's on Apple TV, Netflix, any show that's out right now. It'll go in 2 seconds in the advertisement on YouTube or anything into a demonic craziness, you know, situation is what the show's all about, you know, and the symbolism is crazy.
Yeah.
What was your point?
Well, he was on your show. You were talking about the cross, the upside down cross in the mouth, the stage.
I'd heard some about that. I didn't really know. I mean, I'm kind of
just go look up Travis is his first name, but just go look up his concert, and there's tons of video out during it and everything, and it's really, you know, and everybody, they interview all these people that were there, and all the people there were saying it was, you know, demonic. It was like I felt like I was in hell, you know. And these are kids that went there for fun and didn't even think twice about it being, you know, seeing all the symbolism. But by the end of the concert, they are the ones describing it
that way.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's a for sure. You know, they're like, there's no doubt about it. It felt that way. You know, people died. It was just crazy. It's crazy. You should go look it up and do a little research into it. It's crazy what went on that concert and the stage and everything.
Yeah, I'd heard some about that. As far as some of those things, I didn't really look at it in real depth. I mean, but I mean that brings a good point. I mean, there's a good point to that, which is that you know, now in this time, it's, you know, the lies are truth and the truth are lies. So you know, with just that being said on its face, I mean, that people
everything that's going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's through this, it's across the whole spectrum. It's, you know, you don't know what to believe, you know. There's a balance. There's always a balance. There has to be a balance. It's never going to be all the way to the left. It's never going to be all the way to the right. The balance point has to be somewhere in the middle, both politically, you know, even if you want to say in religion, but I mean, the Christian quote unquote religion isn't really a religion per se. So it's a little bit tricky when you go there. But the point being is that there's a balance. There's a balance to everything. And when things are out of balance, that's when you see all of these other things that are happening that are horrible. You know,
Well, like you said earlier, the guy got, shoots at a car or whatever, and he gets
yeah,
let free. It's like the
yeah,
bizarro world. I mean, that should
Yeah.
be like, man, you do that, you're in big trouble. And then the people that are just defending their own, businesses and
yes,
stuff like that
yeah,
are deemed. But it's just I call it the
yeah,
bizarro world.
yeah.
Everything that's right is wrong, and wrong is right, and
It
it's out
is
of control.
totally bizarro.
Well, yeah, and then when you have that kind of on every level, I mean, there was a date that happened in the last year, and you would think that, on that date that there was, these horrible, awful things that happened, and people were really prepared to do something at this place that
Oh,
shall remain unnamed,
Remain.
nameless.
Yep. Yep.
And there was all of this preparation, but there's guys in the streets that are yelling to go do things, and the guy's
Yeah.
yelling, and everybody's yelling, "Fed, fed, fed, fed," and it's like, oh, isn't that interesting? But
Yeah.
then this guy's never heard from again before the
Yeah.
event. Then
Yeah, they
there's
can't find them.
yeah, there's another
And
guy
they,
doing similar.
that planted something allegedly, and they can't even get his cell phone records, even though they saw him with a cell phone. And yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on. I like to just tell people whenever we talk about that day that you're talking about is look up Google the Reichstag fire. It happened during, before World War II,
Right.
and the uprising of the just look into Goebbels and what's the
Right.
other guy's name? Oh shoot, whatever. And then Hitler and all that. But even before Hitler, there's Goebbels and the other guy, Himmler.
Yeah.
But it started building up with them guys. I researched that, but then to get the Communistic Party was starting to get some bigger than the Nazi
other
party.
party.
I don't know if I'm allowed to
Yeah.
say that word,
Yeah.
but then so they pulled that stunt. They burnt down that thing. And they blamed it on the communists, and they round them all up, and then the Nazis were in power. Boom, done. And they just tried to play the same playbook that day. Period.
Yeah, and I mean, but again, the interesting thing is that
Lazy days.
is that all of these things that are allegedly of great importance, and all of these plans and preparations, and I mean, it's all lies. It's not true. Granted, there are a bunch of morons running around out in the streets just being morons. But we had that every day here for a whole summer, 100+ days.
Yeah, you guys had it rough up there.
And yet you don't hear anything about that. You don't hear about those people. They're not in jail. They're absolutely not in jail. These people that were here doing all of that. There was
In fact, most of them weren't from here.
well, right. I mean, of the people, but the point still is that they weren't jailed for these things. They weren't, when you usually go burn businesses, and the Portland Police Bureau, that's literally 4 miles this way, probably 5 miles. It was boarded up, and those boards just came down probably 2 months ago. The whole thing was boarded up.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a training facility.
Right.
But again, it's this right is wrong and wrong is right, when you have these people that are on TV trying to incite all of these people to do bad and terrible things. I mean, when a wonderful, for all accounts, I don't know her, but Winsome Sears to be elected, I don't care about race, it doesn't matter. She was a Marine. She's a Marine.
Yeah. That's all I see. I see a Marine.
Yeah, she was elected, and great for her, first woman to be elected to that position.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then you have people in the media saying that she's basically a white ventriloquist,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Just like, man, I
how
know.
more insulting, how
Right.
how much
I
more,
like.
go ahead,
No, go ahead.
how much more insulting and evil and just, lying, how much more can that be than just that right there? Then they say basically that this woman is the white ventriloquist in essence. That's what they're calling her, because she's,
I was going to say hi to Belinda and Chuck. I've never seen them before, so I wanted to say
hi.
welcome.
So, in this woman, I mean, fantastic for her, but what are we talking about? We're talking about these people on TV are talking horribly about her because she doesn't fit the narrative. Why doesn't she fit the narrative? Why? What is wrong with her? And then look at Boston for just an example. Asian American. Again, race doesn't matter. But a woman gets elected to be the mayor of Boston, and people are upset because it's not the right ethnic group.
Right. It's all nuts balls, as we like to say.
What?
Nuts.
It's all nuts balls, is what we like to say on our show.
They like to hold up a picture of nuts balls.
Nuts balls?
Nuts and balls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's true. But so at any rate, you get into these kind of things and, your mind is just blown because there isn't a standard. If what is it, 45? If 45's junior was Sleepy Joe Hayden, Ben Hayden, if those two were anywhere, if there was any kind of similarity between those two as far as what happened, if the shoe was on the other foot, could you imagine what that would look like?
Yeah.
But since he's of the privileged class, then it's all great. Oh, this is the greatest guy ever. Look at him. I mean, he smokes crack with the best of them.
Oh,
He's
that guy.
fantastic.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's just terrible what's on that. I mean, what we've seen, I did a little dabbling around looking to see what, and there's some videos you don't want to look at. That's pretty bad. It's like, but yeah, that guy is, I mean, it's all so much common sense. That's what gets me so much. It's like, as soon as 45 won, right? I was like, oh, and then 2 seconds later, they say he's a Russian, spy. I'm like, oh, come on, dude. That'll never fly. That's just them being butter. That's just a gimmick. And then they kept on going. I'm like, this is so nuts. And then it took what, 3 to 5, 3 years, 4 years to say, no, it's that's all ridiculous. And come to find out, it's all set up by, the person that was crying it in the first place. I'm like, yeah, of course. I mean, everything's, whenever they said 15 days, for the, once CV broke out, they said, Mark, come on now. It's just going to be 15 days, I'm like, it's not going to be 15 days. Yeah. This is to bring down a sitting president. It is not going to be 15 days. I was screaming it because they told me to go home. I was going to do the basketball tournament, the women's basketball, Big 12 basketball tournament in Kansas City. And as soon as they told me to go home, we all got to, lay low for 15 days. I'm like, oh, man. And I was yelling at those people. And the whole way I was cursing, I was like hitting the steering wheel going, how stupid are we? This is going to go on for maybe at least a year, but maybe forever. This might be the controlling factor that puts us all in our place. It's just, it's so fuming, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the whole point. Is it's like the temporary tax that never is or will be. Hey, it'll be just a temporary tax. Everybody, don't worry.
And then like toll roads. This is just you pay off the toll road. Then it's going to be a free road. Yeah, right. Whatever.
Right.
This is only to pay for the bridge. Yeah.
What?
Well, it's to pay for the bridge,
and by the time the bridge is paid for, then it needs new paint.
Well, no, now we need to, you know, put our children into the Ivy Leagues, so it's something else now. But yeah, I mean it's an interesting time, and it's also a scary time. But I think the reality is that um, I guess my real challenge is I look at all this news and I just get pissed off because I'm like,
Good
you
night,
know,
Sojourning.
normal people. Good night.
Oh, she said right. Sorry.
Right.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
right.
too far from the screen. It looked like night.
um,
I'm not old.
is
We are.
We are.
the point is, what was I going with that?
I don't know.
Oh dang it! I had a good.
Oh,
thought.
you're listening to the news. It gets you all jazzed up.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I look at that and I just get pissed off because it's like, well, this isn't right. If I did something like this, here's a good one. Just and then this will make my point. It'll
Yeah.
illustrate it. Karam Abdullah Jabaro had a son, and
Okay.
he nearly murdered somebody, a neighbor, and he got 6 months in jail, and he gets to report after January 7th. God bless him.
Yeah.
But literally, I mean, the guy almost bleeds to death, and he gets 6 months. But then you
Yep.
have the great Lou Alcindor lecturing everybody in the public eye about COVID, and it's like, are you really kidding me? Here you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. The word, some flu or something. I don't know, sickness. He's lecturing Aaron Rodgers, basically,
Yeah.
and in all
Oh,
over the news, and
And he's doing quite well, by the way. He could have played that weekend that they told him he couldn't play. He was that good. Feeling just great.
right. But you would think that they would have been happy had he died. That's the sad thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they would want.
I
And
told
it-
you.
all you got to do. I mean, I'm looking into some wacky stuff right now that I'm not going to talk about, but just look over in India and what they were using, and it's in their one province they have like 240 million people. It's eradicated, man. It's gone with what I'm not going to say the word, but they were using something that Aaron was using, and that country's doing great. It's about the same size. I mean, the one province is doing just as fabulous as the 300 million people that are doing living here, and they're concentrated, man. Like
Right.
they're all living on top of each other.
Personal space is, let's say, not at a premium in countries
Yeah.
in that country.
Okay.
But the point is they would have liked for him to die, and that would have been a great news story. Oh, look, we told you he died, and he's just stupid. But and then on the other hand, you have a quote unquote great athlete, who once played the game and chastising people, why his son nearly murders somebody, and it's all good. Nothing to be seen here. Nothing to be seen. Just keep it moving. But the point is that I get so pissed off about this stuff. There's this hypocrisy, but it's that balance also between saying, okay, the Lord's got to be coming soon. I know he said he's been coming for a while. It's in his time frame, and it'll be right. But it's one of those things that when you look at this and you see what's happening, um, it's my body, it's my choice, and you see all of these horrible things happening. And just the perversion, really, it's perversion.
Yes. Yep.
And it's like, I mean, I don't know what Sodom and Gomorrah was like, but I'm sure it couldn't have been a lot different than what's happening here.
Yeah. And I think I was saying in my younger life, I'm like, what's the odds during my lifetime that this, the Jesus coming back would be. At the beginning, I'm like, that would be selfish to even think that, and as I'm getting older and the whacked out and we're almost to where you have to
Right.
have something to buy food and all that, I'm like, it's getting more possible.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it will or it won't. I'm just saying, like you said, the events going on are sure looking, mighty, people are really corrupt and evil, and the demonic spirits are going crazy right now.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, man, this is not a good place right now.
Yeah, I mean, not only is it not a good place, I mean, it's a place that, I mean, look at all the fear. All you have to do is look at all of the fear in
Yeah.
relation to these events. We have something here that's for some folks is going to be death, and for other folks it's going to be life. But that happens every day. I mean,
Amen.
people die. People die every day. So I mean, that's just
Yeah.
the surety.
Yeah.
But to say that, well, it's because of this or because of that, or it's whatever the case may be, it still happens. And that's but people are scared to death. And why? They're scared to death because they don't know where they're going.
No
They
worries,
don't know.
precious.
They
Yeah.
don't know. So they're
No.
absolutely scared to death, which makes
Yeah, I'm
sense.
not. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not scared. I mean, I would like things to get better, but I'm not
Yeah.
scared. And and God put me here in Oklahoma for a reason. I started out in Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is about as whacked as Oregon is, as
Mhm.
far as politics go and everything. So, and we moved up to Washington, and that didn't stick. We went back, we got back here, and I'm like, man, this is the perfect place to be right now. I mean, he put me in the best place to ride out this craziness. So I'm fortunate.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, I think again it's perspective. I think it's I find that I struggle with that balance between, this is absolutely crazy what is happening here, and being pissed off because I know that I know that I know that this isn't right.
Yeah,
These things that are happening.
yeah. You're
But
not being duped.
right, right. But at the same time, what are we going to do about it? What can we do about it?
I
We,
think.
we yeah.
Go ahead. No,
Yeah,
go
no,
ahead.
that's just an open-ended question,
Oh, I was just gonna say, I don't know about Debbie, but we kind of revamped. She was like a simple prepper show to begin with, and then we started. What can we do that's different, than prepping? Because a lot of people do prepping and everything, and we're like,
Yeah.
let's just do a show. The news sucks, so let's just do a fun. Let's start off kind of like a talk show where it's funny at the beginning. Get into the news and just make the news as funny as possible. Because if you were a sane person, that nobody would believe what is going on in the news if they just like beamed from the past right now. They'd be like, this is all crazy. It's like, so we try to make fun of it and maybe get somebody that's on the fence to go, yeah, maybe he's right. Maybe the news is bad and all this. So if you can just convert one or two people to wake up and just second guess all the stuff going on, then I think we did our part. I mean, we're not going to reach millions, but if we could just change one or two, then I think we're doing good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's what happens at grassroots levels, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
how movements kind of start is people just saying, number one, enough is enough, because now, I mean, you would think that we, and don't get me wrong, words can be very hurtful when it's coming from people that you love, but if it's somebody that doesn't know me, they could say whatever they want to say. It doesn't really matter. They don't know me, right? So
Yeah.
but the point is that these days you would think that if a word you use is offensive, we all use words that are offensive, whether that's intentional or not, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Right.
But everybody at some point, and I tell her all the time, is I can't communicate perfectly. I can try to do the best I can. I'm not going to try to be mean. I'm not going to be dishonest. But at the end of the day, I might say something in a way that's like, well, I don't like the way you said that, right? I mean, it's just the way life
Little
is.
Frenchie.
But it's not my goal. It's not my goal to do that. It's my goal is to communicate in a way that's helpful and it's open, that's honest. But at the same time, I can't communicate perfectly with her, for example, because it's impossible to communicate to a woman, in a way that most people would understand. I'm sure that other guys besides Bruce
This is his
would understand that.
Oh.
But no, in all seriousness, so the point is that we can think that we're being very kind or we're explaining something very well when in fact it's like the other person could have no clue what you're speaking about.
Right.
So
And we like to make fun, not fun, but try to get out, like maybe somebody will believe that this is all going on. Is we like to predict the future, we say, with the stupid softball, right? The all-knowing softball, right? And we'll look into it and predict the future, and sure enough, it's I think we're batting almost 100% on Deb Zell's like, well, here comes inflation, right? Or this is going to happen. There's no way it's going to be 15, but we've predicted so many things and it all comes true. And it's harder for people to say, hey, maybe, or maybe somebody might say, you know what, those two old people on the couch, they've been right so far. They've been getting this stuff all right on the money. So I don't know.
right.
It's just been a fun ride on YouTube.
Right. What are your best couple that you have, as far as that you thought, hey, we're thinking about this and we haven't heard anybody else say it?
Well, that's a book, I know, but I don't know where are they going with that. Oh, it's because we women are from Venus. I thought it was like, what do you think about Venus? Oh, okay. It's because we women are whenever you were talking earlier. Okay, I'm slow. It takes me a while to catch on to what's going on, but yeah. But no, that's the way it should be. I think females have their, if we were all the same again, life wouldn't be good. I mean, she keeps me in line.
Mhm.
That's what the women are for, boy, to keep us goal oriented and keep on track. Or else I wouldn't get nothing done.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure I agree with your assertion, but yeah, I mean,
I like to say this is my job. I turn the head on the neck.
Oh yeah. She stole that line. But I guess it works. You don't turn this head or this neck.
Yes, I do.
You speak to the ear.
I just flash.
Debbie talks to me and then she'll leave for work and I'll be like, what was I supposed to do again?
She didn't leave you a list.
What's that?
I leave you a list. I don't leave him a list.
She just tells me. And she goes, Mark, are you paying attention? And I go, yeah, I'm paying attention. And then I'll be like, oh, crap, I didn't pay attention.
Right? Then what happens? Then you're in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Well, I either call her or I just don't do it. And Deb goes, yeah, I figured you wouldn't get that done. Like, did you do that? No. I was, oh, yeah, that's right.
I think you didn't listen to me when I was telling you. You didn't listen. Right?
Yeah. Well, she knows. She goes, you didn't absolutely listen to me at all, did you? I'm like, well, or I'll be on my iPad researching sometimes, and she'll tell me stuff, and I'm like, I'm really into what I'm looking at and everything, and so
right.
It doesn't sink in.
Yeah, same here,
but
it's the opposite way here.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, what would you, if you were 20 years younger and you could do any one thing, regardless of if it was together or not together? I just mean 20 years younger, or you guys could both do one thing that would have changed the course of your life. What would it be?
Man, that's a tough one because it all laid out in a certain way for a reason, but I think I would get more land. I think we would have probably got more land and been a little, further out in the country and more self-sufficient. I kind of always wanted to do that whenever I was, whenever you're young and single, you know, but I always thought, oh, it would be great to be perfectly self-sufficient. But I'm like, man, you need somebody to make you a shirt. As humans, we still need to rely on other people. But the more independent, maybe growing my own food, having some, animals like you guys do and everything, that would have been a smart move, I think. And I think it's good for the kids because the kids get chores and it's just a good way of life. Maybe some farming, more of a farming, go some way. I like watching there's a Wild Wild West. Jax with Wild Wild West is a show. He just started up not too long ago, but he's funny and he's got a big farm. I mean, and he's got a trucking business. And this guy is just a go-getter. He's got his own business, trucking industry, and he's got his own farm. And his kids, he makes them work hard and everything. And if I could have that energy I had younger to do something like that. And I think if you have all that going on, then you stay more, physical and can do it longer in life. You might burn out quicker, but, at least you're stronger and more fortitude to be on yourself, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you?
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Something.
Go ahead.
No, I agree with that.
Quit talking so much.
I know. I'm sorry.
How about you, Deb? Would there be anything you'd add to that?
No, I liked what he said. I like buy some land, but yeah, I feel like where we're supposed to be. So you can't have regrets in life. That's just not how life works. You just got to be happy. You just got to be happy where you're at.
Right. There's a lot to be said for that.
I
don't know that I'm that's a hard one. I mean, and I agree with what you're saying in principle. I think that it's the thinking and it's the, I don't know, the introspection. It's, when you kind of think about lots of different things and, well, what about this and what about that? And I mean, I drive her crazy because, especially right now, because I'm trying to think about all of these things that we're doing. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? What are we going to do to make this happen? We have to have a place to live. We need to, we need to run power. We need to get a septic. We need to get a well. A well takes 6 months. Power is 4,400 feet for run. Then do we do solar? And it's just this, right now we're in this never.
And he's got one of those brains that just don't turn off.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I'd be the same way. It
doesn't turn off, and so, but I agree with you, Deb, that the point is that you want to be happy where you are, and I think that takes a certain amount of just being present and just saying, hey, okay, things are good, and that's why I find myself in just saying, hey, look, I need to be okay not knowing the answers. Because right now, that's really what my fight is right now.
Right.
Not knowing the answers, not knowing how is this going to work out compared to how is that going to work out. What do we do here? And at the end of the day, then I'm not resting anyway. And so I'm in this place of, the rat on the wheel because I'm trying to get it all figured out. And so it's I definitely would agree with that, though. That's where you want to be. You want to be in that place. I just don't know how. I'm working on getting there.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know how I was going to feel being I did a very technical job and it paid real well. And, I was good. I think I was pretty good at it and everything. And whenever it just, this whole event happened and everything. And I was like, I just want to get something local until we figure out what's going on for sure. Right. But then I was like, I don't know if I can hack this, being just a janitor, after doing a technical field. And you know what? It's growing on me big time. The kids, I love the kids. The kids are funnier than all get out, and they're good kids and everything. And I don't know. They like me. I don't know if I always said to anybody, if you want to be a rock star, and you can't sing or anything, just become the janitor of a school, man. The kids, third and fourth grade level at least, they all love you, man. It's like they're like Mr. Mark, they all, it's funny as can be, and I'm having a ball kind of do it now, and then just laugh at them. I like whenever I go by the bathroom is a walk-in bathroom, and the mirror is just right there. And the dancing that goes on in front of the mirror. And so I'll be walking by and I'll look over and I'll see, and I'll just stop and I'll just watch as they dance until they look out and see me and go, I was like, man, that was good, or just like, what the heck were you doing? I'll just bust on them a little bit like, what are you doing? And they go, and they just smile at you and then run off. And so it's funny. I'm having it's entertaining. Go ahead.
Do you guys work at the same school?
Same district, but she works daycare for the teachers and stuff like that for 1-year-olds, and I've got the school with the that has 3rd and 4-year-olds.
3 and 4th grade.
3rd and 4th grade. I mean, jeez. Thank you.
You're welcome.
1-year-olds would be fun because they don't.
Oh yeah.
They're just cute at that age, and
yeah.
I don't know.
They give you the puppy dog look, like, what? Huh? What?
That's kind of neat, though. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think. I mean, from what you're describing, I don't think that you should have any recriminations about that whatsoever. You're having a good time doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So,
It's good.
live it up. I mean, that's actually pretty neat. I mean, I have a job that I like doing what I do when I'm busy or it's challenging for me. But other than that, it's long, and I don't know. I always was. I mean, the same kind of thing in technical, and I mean, I got out of the Army and went to work in the oil fields and started at the bottom as a truck driver, and so.
And now he's an accountant.
Yeah, and then that bottom fell out of that. Then I went back to school and got my accounting degree, and now I do accounting. I mean, I don't know about the accounting side because I just haven't found that. I don't know if it's because the people are so much different working in a straight office compared to when you're working with a bunch of oil field guys. It's completely different.
Yeah, it's a totally different world.
It's a different world, but to me, I guess the thing that I really enjoyed about it was always very dynamic, and it was always, I mean, we would work absolutely crazy hours. You guys know from El Reno. El Reno is Halliburton's yard, right?
Yeah.
Halliburton.
No, we know people that have worked the oil, and it's all different. Like some people are week on, week off. Some are 2 weeks on, 1 week off, or some are 2 weeks on too. But whenever they're out there, they work, for long hours and grueling. And the weather can be really crappy and everything. So they work hard for their money. Boy, they earn it.
Yeah, absolutely. And and it's one of those things that, so I don't know, my goal is, I guess, when we get to Tennessee, that I'll be able to find something that maybe has eluded me, because I mean, I moved from Colorado out of the oil field over back to Washington, and then from Washington got a job, then came down into Oregon, which, I mean, it's border state. From being out this way. But but I'm hopeful that I'll find something that will kind of suit me. I don't want to be a desk jockey, but I think I'd be fine just running equipment as long as my back could stand it. But doing stuff like that, or just, I don't know. That's my hope, is that I can get something.
Kind of reinventing ourselves as we move.
It's good
to Tennessee.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
I don't know if I'll work or.
Oh, you'll be working. It's a matter of whether you'll be getting
On
Chopping
the
down
property
trees.
or at a place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, you'll be working, but it'll just be a matter of whether it's actually for someone, or hopefully you'll be able to just do stuff that we need to do around the house while I'm
Yeah.
off doing what I need to do. And hopefully, I don't know, I don't know if it would happen. It's an idea. We've talked about milling all our own lumber to do a house with.
Yeah.
We've kind of thrown that around a little bit. We have lots of trees, so we have enough trees to make 20 houses or more, probably.
How
So we have
many
lots of trees.
how many acres did you end up getting?
It's almost 160.
Holy, yeah,
So
that's a big place.
yeah, and I mean, the thing is, I mean, she hasn't seen it. Most of the people know but she hasn't seen it. So, but
He bought it when I wasn't there. I've seen video of it and all of that stuff. I'm a medical foster parent. We do that together as well. And so the problem with what I do is that I'm very sheltered in my life. We don't have a backup support for us. And so
Yeah.
I can't just go flying here or there too. So I haven't seen the property yet. So
she will soon, though. That song
Mhm.
and dance, this little crying game that she's doing over here, it'll be over soon.
Yeah, she'll be cursing all the woods around. God.
It's
mud and trees and
oh yeah. I mean, it's the. I mean, we're really looking forward to that. I mean, that's going to be amazing. It's a lot of work for us to get there, but um,
east or west of Nashville.
it's west.
Okay,
So
good. That's
we're
closer
only
to us, so we can maybe get out there. It's like, I can make it to Nashville in one day, but that's a long day. So
oh, quit it.
thinking
Don't be a sissy.
maybe someday we'll be able to come out and help you out or something.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that would
or
be
vice
awesome.
versa.
I mean, we so we're we're kind of moving down all these tracks and in parallel, and some are perpendicular, but trying to get to this point to really make that life. I mean, we don't want to, money isn't an end all be all. We've been doing this for a while, and the problem is we don't really have any personal time. We can't. She did get to go see property in Tennessee and in the same area. It just happened to be that the property that I didn't get shown this property until I came back another time myself. So
Right.
otherwise, we looked at property, and then this was just to the next county over, and but that's the exciting thing is being able to do that, and move into that and this whole new kind of life. I mean, what that's going to mean, what it's going to look like, and it's scary in some ways.
Yes. I was gonna say it'll be scary, but it'll all work. Always you'll go through some hardships and stuff, but the whole process as it goes along, you'll be all like, oh, this was a great move.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bruce.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, we're definitely really excited about it. I mean, the last thing that her and I got to do together actually were, besides, I won't talk about it on here, but the last thing that her and I got to do was when we went to see that property, and that was in October of last year. And I mean, date or anything, just because of what we do. So
I was on the road a lot. I missed. That's one thing about my job now is I drive a mile to work and drive a mile back, and I'm always home. And that was not the case for a long, long time.
Yeah, and there's definitely something to be said for that, and it's going to be a big adjustment for us where we're working together, communicating.
Oh man, she says that like she sees the tiny home people and stuff like that. Let's get a piece of land, get a tiny home. I go, you won't even help me work on just holding a nut on the car whenever I'm working on it, right? and we always fight. Like if we would have been on like what's that one show where you you raced around the world or the Great Race or whatever, man,
Oh,
we'd
yeah,
be that company where we're just anytime we do something together, we end up fight. I mean, even whenever we go on vacation, we fight on the way on how we're going to go vacation and stuff. But just sitting around here and just living life, we're fine. But if we try any project, man, and I'm not worry. I'm always thinking this could happen, that could happen, and
right,
and that's why I was a good satellite guy. I always knew what could go wrong, and I kept double, triple checking and doing my best to keep what could go wrong from going wrong. So a worrywart was a good satellite guy, right? And that's bad because it also stresses you the crap out. So I'd be like you. I'd be worried about how much is this going to cost? Oh, I just broke that. This is busted
right.
over here. Oh my gosh, what are we doing? I'd just be a worrywart, but it would all work. But I'd be as stressed out as crazy while I was trying to build it all up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think for us, we've certainly had our moments when we were working together, and I'm kind of like you in the sense that I'm going to put a plan together and I'm going to say, okay, this is about how it's going to go. I'm going to have
And
this.
I'm like, just do it. Let's just do
Just,
it.
yeah.
Get it done.
I'm gonna have this kind of laid out, and I'm gonna be thinking about, okay, we're gonna be doing this, then we're gonna do this, and this is gonna come together like so. And she's over here, and then I'm getting frustrated with her because, oh, we built a turkey pen here a while ago. This is a highfalutin turkey pen, like $500 with the cost of wood. But
And it's there's nothing to it.
yeah,
But it was because of the prices of wood at the time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
you know,
You can't build anything right now. That's the other thing. They want to get rid of the middle class. They don't want you to get your own place. They don't want you to build your own stuff. It's planned this way. It's no coincidence that all this is going on. And I mean, it's almost impossible to buy anything for construction right now. The prices are crazy.
Yeah, and it is interesting, but I do think that one of the biggest things we can try to do anyway, as much as we can, and whatever your own talents are, is to help other people to kind of see, oh, hey, we can do that. Oh, let's just do this. We could fix this by doing this, or
Yeah.
let's build our own thing. And I mean, I never have plans in my head necessarily on I want to build this and I'm going to draw it all out. I don't do it that. I just say, okay, I want to build this thing.
It's in
Yep.
in your head.
And then I'm like, okay, well, I need these things, and it kind of comes together.
Yeah.
But and again, it's a good exercise in communication. We've learned how to do that a lot better. And if I'm getting to be, too much because I'm expecting her to do things, and I'm expecting, well, I need you to do this, and you come over here, no, don't do that, and
Different brain.
yeah. But again, but it's still that balance. I call her, she's my supervisor, but I don't mean like because she's telling me. She's not necessarily telling me what to do. She's just watching me do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I think that you've discovered, I'll watch
This is
because
what
I'm like
she
trying to
says.
figure out what he's doing. But then I come in with you should do this, try this.
She
This
has
might work.
one time she had a good idea and
Man.
hey, while I'm over here watching you do all of this work, I noticed if you just do this, it might be better. It's like, oh yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks.
He's kidding.
I'm not kidding. It did happen that way though. She literally was standing there watching me, and that's what I always tell her. She's my supervisor.
Yeah.
But she has come in occasionally with a good idea and said, oh,
Somebody needs to supervise.
Somebody needs to supervise.
Especially you.
Yeah. I'll get in trouble if left to my own devices. Well, actually, my son can attest to this. You guys won't be able to see it. The tip of my pinky right there is chopped off.
Yeah.
That's because I was being stupid.
See,
I
I told
was,
you.
yeah, but she wasn't there for this.
Were you rushing? Were you
What's
under a time crunch?
No,
Not
no,
usually. No.
I was working on a table saw, and the throat plate on the table saw protects the blade, right? So you can,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
doesn't get caught around the blade.
Right.
And I was using dado blades to make like dado cuts, like in those bookcases where you can see it. Well, you can't see the dado cuts, but where you make a shelf.
Yeah. And the
So a dado
groove
cut.
together.
Well, not
Yeah.
that's a dovetail.
Okay. I
Anyway,
knew that. I was testing you.
yeah, thanks. So I needed
Just a
to
groove.
correct. I
All right,
needed
yeah.
to hog this plastic plate out, and so the dado blades are rough blades. They're they hog
Yeah.
stuff out, so they're
Right.
just gruesome. Oh geez, here we go again. Just leave it up there, so I won't forget. Anyway, I was hogging this out, and so I had my left hand down.
Okay.
Well, my left hand's down on the table saw, and I'm rotating the blade up, and it's coming up through the bottom of the plastic, and I'm holding it with my left hand, and the wood spun my hand into the dado blades, and so it chopped the corner of my pinky off here.
Yeah.
And then it also got my ring finger across because it's like an inch wide, like all the way across here. So luckily I didn't get only the tip chopped off.
Yeah.
But I was just being dumb and doing a procedure that I'd never done before. Okay, so I gotta hit this one. Carol Baskins, the Tiger Queen.
Fishes.
Oh yeah.
What? Carol Baskins, the Tiger Queen.
Yes.
She's the Tiger Queen.
I actually met the tiger. What's it? Joe
Maldonado Passage.
Yeah, that guy down in Winniewood. We were doing a story. I like I said, I was freelance satellite truck, so I got hired by it was either NBC or one of the news or CNN or something like that. And I went down there. I actually got down. We had like ridiculously early crew calls for like the morning shows and stuff like that. So I just ended up just driving down there, and I slept, right outside of the lion cage in my truck, and I could actually see the lines and stuff right there. But that guy was crazy. I was like glad to get out of there because the media, as you know, I've seen how they work. They set him up, they're like, we're going to ask you this, and he's like, okay, I agree to all that and everything. And then they sit him down and they're live, right? And they just start asking them all the questions that, nothing that they said they were going to talk about. They started asking them all this, and this guy's crazy. He's got, on his, side, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm watching it in my satellite truck. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't do I heard you setting this all up. This is not going, you're making him look super bad. That's what you said you weren't going to do. And I was like, oh, and man, he was fuming mad afterwards and everything. And he was really nice. He gave us a tour of his place and everything earlier. And I got to see all his animals and everything. And, but boy, man, I was trying to tell him, I don't work with these people. They just hired me. Don't get mad at me. Whatever you do, I'm just trying to tell him.
Thing on the side of his hip.
Oh yeah, I'm like, I'm just, I don't work with these people. They just hire me. It's like I have nothing to do with them. I'm on your side right now.
That's funny. Yeah,
but, no, I got to meet him.
That whole show was a circus. A clown show, a clown car show.
Well, he had his song going in his gift shop. He wanted to be a singer, right? It's like I saw a tiger and the tiger saw me or
It's
something
probably
like
he
that.
stole from somebody else, right?
Yeah, I think
I
he
don't know,
stole
but
that. Yeah,
he's like standing on top of his police squad car and stuff like
yeah,
that. And that's rolling. I'm like, man, this guy is, I didn't know anything about him until I went down there to do that. I'm like, oh man, I'm in Nutsville here, man. It's just crazy.
Need my blankie.
what?
Need my blankie.
All right, that's
Yeah,
enough of my Lion King story or whatever it's
yeah.
called.
That's pretty
Lion
funny,
King,
though.
Lion King.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole show. I mean, yeah, he's apparently he just got transferred in federal prison to another better medical lockup, I think is what they were doing.
Yeah, because he's got cancer, I think.
Yeah, he's got colon cancer, I think, is what it is. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just that
He
whole
was trying to get pardoned from Trump.
yeah, I wouldn't
Probably. Yeah, that's more than probably
yeah,
Trump's like, yeah, I'm not going to touch that story at all.
yeah, that's there wasn't enough there, I don't think, for that story, but yeah, that was interesting. Anyway, that's Carol Baskins. Carol
Yeah.
Baskins, Tiger Fishes, Loaves and Kings, and whatnot.
Loaves and kings.
Yeah.
Fishes
Loaves-
and loaves.
She wants to make me into tiger sausage. You need to be made into tiger sausage because here in this state somewhere, I'll give her a call. Thank you, Carol Baskins. Carol Baskins Jr.
Just I'll keep it short, but that's one thing about being in, doing what I did. I was at every major, news event, and I've been, I followed Obama whenever he was running for election, and you saw the jazz with him. I could totally understand that he won that, election and everything like that.
Right.
And so the whole time I'm going around, man, the jazz was as good, if not better, for Trump. So I would be sitting in the truck, and they're laughing, like, this is such a joke. He's never gonna, why does he even run? I would be like in my mind, because I didn't want to tick off my client, right? I'm like, man, the dude's got the jazz, man. I've seen this before. And then finally, I just couldn't take it anymore. And the one guy was like giving, laughing. And it was whenever he was still going up against other Republicans. I said, not only is he going to win the Republican nominee, he's going to win the president. Watch it. Mark my words. And I kind of was out on a limb, just a smidge maybe, but I was like, the jazz is there. This guy has the backing. People were lining around the block and stuff. So it's just funny how, and then I see how every story they did, they would spin and make him look bad at every, down at the border, I was at all those things, and they would just sit in the truck and just spin it until they would, make everything he did was, obviously you watch the news, it was bad. And I was like in there listening to how they were going to, how writing up the stories and stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's not what's going on. But it was funny.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty surprised. I was pretty just disgusted with that whole campaign, just in general, the quote unquote competition between the suicide queen and him.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting, though. I mean, here in the Communist Republic of Oregon, the votes were going to go one way, and there was no question about what way that would go. But the funny thing I think I was still a resident of Washington anyway at that time, so it didn't even matter. But I was like, I don't even care. I'm so sick of hearing all this crap all the time. And I went to work the next day. I'm like, what? He won? You got to be kidding me. How did that happen?
I stayed up. I was like, it wasn't looking good at first. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into too much politics. I'll leave you alone.
Well, no, I mean, I'm all good.
We're all good with it.
Yeah, I'm all good with
No.
that. Ben Bunker Hyden. But
No.
the only interesting thing, I guess, the point is that I don't know what happened, but I would like only someone to explain to me. I don't care about any of the conspiracies or anything like that, or maybe this happened, maybe that. I don't even care. I only want to know one thing. I want to know how Barry Soetoro won 800 and something counties in 2012, and Ben Hayden, who never did a campaign stop, or a news conference in that whole lead up.
Yeah.
How does he win? According to YouTube's father, Google, he won just over 500 counties, and I just want to
Yeah.
know. I want to see the math, and that would be
Yeah.
great. And that's all I
There's-
care about. Just show me the
Yeah.
math.
Yeah. It doesn't add up to me. It doesn't
Right.
add up. I know in my own personal opinion that there's no way. There's just no way. And hopefully the truth comes out someday. But that,
We've been waiting for JFK for how long?
yeah, and then who was going to run against Hillary for senator that would have stopped her whole campaign to get into the presidency? And well, he's gone too.
Oh,
I don't know. Junior.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. JFK Jr.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was
Well-
definitely going to run. He was definitely going to run, and he would have won over her. And he's not here anymore. So
That's interesting though, because not only that, I mean, so I've been working on getting my private pilot's license, and the interesting thing is, I mean, this guy is um, he's flying at night, which you can fly at night still, but he's not instrument rated, and he becomes spatially. The story is, of course, he becomes spatially, disoriented, which would be easy to do, and crashes and kills everybody. But I mean, there's lots of interesting things, but what's interesting is popular mechanics. It'll flash across headlines occasionally, and they'll talk about all the conspiracies. Um, you want me to visit some tigers? Oh, I want to visit some tigers.
Wait.
What?
I think
they were let loose during the one tornado.
guys.
Oh, that's fair.
They were
No.
running around one town.
It's not.
Fishes, do you see your friend down there?
How is Fishes going to respond since? Anyway,
That's really
some
interesting. Okay.
hijinks may be going on, but what's interesting is the popular mechanics will do all of the. Yeah, it's just me. She changed her picture. She said she changed her picture.
Oh, did you just now?
Yeah,
Okay.
aren't you cute, Carol Baskins?
Oh,
See, that's funny.
scared me for a minute there, Fishes.
It's interesting though, because they do the conspiracy theories, and I don't know. I mean,
I couldn't see the picture very well, and so I was like, "What the hell?"
I just think conspiracies lead to information. You can't take them until you do your own research, but it's a starting point to think like, maybe something's up with that, right? And it makes you think and just look into stuff. And
Like the
if you don't
moon.
have the facts, you can't prove nothing, of course. But it's fun to just dabble and then start doing your own research just to see what would be possible or something like that, and
well, how about
it's just really weird and coincidental, a lot of things that have happened.
Well, right, but the problem also is that you can't get enough information to either satisfy or dissatisfy the cause or the point. For me, for example, and everybody, my brother thinks I'm crazy, whatever, but we didn't land on the moon, just saying, but everybody thinks landed on the moon. But I think about technology, and I think about the technology at the time, and 50 years ago, last July, and I think about, you didn't even have handheld calculators. There were these big monsters, and all of the math. See, another believer, sojourner. Yep. Is all the math, and to me it just doesn't make sense, the math, the communications, but I don't know, right? I mean, and that's the whole thing about it. There's enough that makes you say but there's also other information that, well, I mean, it's like the prophylaxis that you get from the pharmaceuticals right now for the big for stubbing your toe. It's the way I like to look at it. Is, oh yeah, let's everybody get inoculated for toe stubbing. But at any rate,
Yeah.
in other words,
I'm,
that's spread by somebody. You follow the money. It's a very easy, simple
that's,
trail. Look, you know. But
I'm,
go ahead. Sorry.
I'm kind of looking into one other thing, and I won't. Is you know, they just went up. Shatner and a bunch of people went up to
Mhm.
to. I don't know if you watched
Oh
my
yeah,
last
I saw.
show.
That's right. I saw what you were
I've
saying.
been
about
looking
that.
into that, trying to follow the money and stuff like that, and it's kind of interesting because I just been throwing some stuff out there, and people are looking at my LinkedIn account right now, and it's kind of getting interesting, man. I'm like, oh, this is maybe I'm hitting a nerve somewhere or something like that, man. I've got pharmaceutical companies looking at me. I'm like, oh, hi guys. But the guy died in a Cessna plane, and it's Metadata Solutions, and they do all the clinical trial. He has the cloud information on for all the big pharmaceuticals on clinical trials and everything. And then what more would you want to manipulate to get something done, today? And I'm like, that's just too odd and creepy. And he went down in a Cessna, which is like the most, safe plane on the planet. It almost flies itself, people tell me. And he was with a trainer, even though he had his own license and he had, instrument and everything. And he was with a guy that was training him. They were both in there. Great weather, and that thing just fell like a rock, the radar says. So it's like it just was going along, and then no forward speed. It just
Interesting. Well, and then
it's like,
weren't you saying on your, I think I caught that on your podcast or your whatever you want to call it.
Show.
Your show, yeah. Weren't you saying that the Dassault guy, he was on there too? And then
he just in March of 2021, one of the Dassault's grandsons or whatever that's part of the company, he's worth like $7 billion. And just the same year that this other guy passed away. So 2 billionaires have gone down associated with Dassault Systems here within a year, and they do aviation for a living, so it's kind of, Dassault is a big little Frenchie on what now?
Yeah.
I saw her in
Big
here.
Texas.
In Big Texas. I got it all screwed up. I got to apologize to her.
No, she's fine.
She's her, and I thought it was him.
Annie.
And I was getting it all messed up. But she was telling me a little bit about Dassault because it's a French company. And I guess, they made a lot of planes, for the war and everything. So they're a huge company.
Well, and so both these fellows now that went up with Bezos, not Bezos the clown, that's what I call him, Bezos the clown. There's a great book by Dane Koontz, Life Expectancy it's called. Anyway, Conrad, I think the guy's name is Conrad Bezos, and he's a clown. Anyway, he's a murderous, a murderous clown. Anyway, it's a really funny book. But so he's one of the guys that went up with Bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they just went up, and that was the guy that just died in the plane crash.
Yeah. What's the odds of that too, man? So that's what made me look into it. I was like, who is this guy? And what does he do for a living? Because you're always wondering, like, plane crashes are rare. So let me just see what he does. And then you're like, oh, Metadata Solutions. Oh, he's big pharma, clinical trials. I was like, well, there's a connection on what's going on in the world right now. And so I've been kind of looking into it.
Sure. And you don't know, right? You don't know what a connection. You don't know what the connection.
I don't know. I have no idea. It's just, it could be just an accident. But boy, it's getting interesting. And then whenever I start commenting on some other people's YouTube pages, then somebody researches me and looks at my profile. I'm like, maybe I'm touching a nerve here a little bit, maybe just a smidge or something.
You better be careful, Dad. He might be getting disappeared.
Yeah. He might be.
That's okay. I'm old. I've had a good life.
Right. I mean, it is interesting though that just in general, some of these connections, but I mean, you look at what's happening with all of this stuff, and amazingly, they're going to come out with a pill now that's supposed to cure all of our ills. And
Yeah.
the other thing wasn't enough, so now they're going to come out with something that you can ingest orally that is going to make them billions and billions of more dollars. And I mean,
Absolutely.
God bless them, and God bless the USA and capitalism. That's what I got to say.
And that's what metadata did. It helped them rush out products quicker, is what they did. And boy, if the data fit more perfectly, boy, they could push it even faster, I bet you. So I don't know. It's just weird. I don't.
Well, yeah, and
There's
you got to ask yourself too when you see connections or you see something that could be a connection. I mean, is it in fact a connection, or is this just something that's random?
It could just all be. He could be the nicest guy in the world, and he saved a lot of humans because his clinical trials were faster, and it was all good. I don't know.
Right. Well, right, but the scary part is that you can't get good information either way.
No.
You don't. That's the problem, is you don't really know. We don't know. If we knew, then it wouldn't be an issue.
Right.
If everything was very transparent and it wasn't a big giant political football, then we would all probably feel much different about this. And but it's here to stay. It's not going to go away. It isn't going to happen. That's not getting flattened. We're not flattening anything.
So
I was just go ahead.
So did you guys both do the research for your show?
No, just me. Oh, she does. Yeah, she does a lot of the news. Most of the news stories she does in advance before I get home from work. So she sets up the news stuff, and then I just do one little either funny thing or something that I want to do. But all the news events, Deb sets that all up.
So do you research those? Where do you research those, or is it just you coming across reading headlines, articles, etc.?
A lot of times it's just me reading headlines, but then certain things will pique my interest, and then I look into those certain things. But
we'll talk about stuff, and then sure enough, if it's in the news too, then we've already kind of been talking about it. So she'll be like, "Hey, check this out," or like we were just, that's what we were just talking about, and then here's a story on it. So then we'll roll with that, especially if we want to mock the media on their, the people doing stupid stuff in the news, right? That's what we kind of key on a lot. It's just the funny stuff that is almost it's so obvious and blatant and stuff like that we like to have fun, just
poking fun at them.
Yeah, just poking fun at them because we know it was going to happen already. We're like, oh, looky there, this happened. Just like we said about 3 months ago. Okay.
Right. It's kind of like a car crash, and you're like, oh yeah, look here. Oh yeah. It's kind of ugly, but can't look away. Well,
but she keys on inflation. She likes to follow the money aspects of the
stuff.
So whenever they say they're going to spend trillions of dollars, I mean, she's on it in 2 seconds. Like, well, that's going to cause inflation. It's like, and we know that they want to, blackouts are coming, and sure enough, blackouts start hitting California. We say there's going to be a shortage of supplies, and now there's a whale of a shortage of supply. Everything that we have predicted with the all-knowing softball, it's happening. So call us kooky, call us whatever you want. It's just, we've called it in advance.
Nice. Well, that's a pretty good track record. What do you guys have to say about Rivian? I'm interested if we should invest.
Rivian. What is?
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Tell me more.
Electric trucks.
Oh yeah. No,
probably.
They're pretty cool.
I don't think that. I don't. Yeah, that's probably why there's all the restrictions on trucking, and they don't want us. Here's my take. You want my take? Sure. They want to make robots, and they want the robots to be able to make robots. And once they do that, they don't need us at all. Once they have things that can make their own things, then depopulation is huge on their list. So, boy, the trucks are going to be all automated. Everything's going to be automated, and they're going. I mean, the elites want to get rid of it's easier to control poor people and less people. So
Right.
they want to make us all poor, so we can't do our own research and think on our own and get an education and all this. So that's what I think the ultimate goal of the evil, people that are running the show is they want to be able to run the world with less people, and they're going to have a nice life because they're going to have, robots that, are doing everything. And if one breaks, they just have another robot making robots, and, they won't need humans at all. That's my far-fetched way down in the future plan.
Sounds like
that they have.
that movie with the
iRobot.
iRobot.
Yeah, never saw it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but then the robot takes over and kills everybody.
But I don't know how a truck can be smart enough to do that, though. I mean, sure, you can do it, but sometimes there's no lines. Sometimes there's snow, whiteouts. I don't even know where the road is, and I've got a brain, and I'm like, I can't, and sometimes there's construction, and the lines are so they haven't got rid of the first lines or the second lines, and the lines are going everywhere, and you're like, but you got to use your own judgment to, figure it out. I just think it'd be impossible to have trucks that run themselves in the near future, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We had a Tesla, so I'll tell you that the technology is there. It's not foolproof by any means, as evidenced by the stories that you see.
Yeah.
But it's pretty amazing what it will do.
Yeah.
I mean,
we don't have the Tesla anymore, but
that's why I said we had.
Oh, okay.
We had. I was in love for a short period of time. It was wonderful. I'll tell you, it's pretty cool. I drove it to Tennessee, and because I wanted to see what that would be like, and it wasn't fun, but the way there took me 86 hours, and on the way back I was able to cut it by 10 hours, and I did it in 76 hours.
Just because you have to find a charging place and then wait for it to charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's not as bad as it's not as bad as you may think, because, for example, like when I was in Missouri, there was a big Bass Pro Shops there. And so, there's stuff usually around where you're charging at, so you can kind of get out.
Yeah.
So it isn't so bad that way.
If you like shopping.
Well, no, it's not even if you like shopping, but you can get out and go walk around because it's a long trip. I mean, it's 2,300 miles from here to there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad that way. But there's definitely things that you have to watch out for that's scary. It'll do pretty well, except again, when you are talking about painted lines, it will can get confused on those. And so you do have to watch out for that. But overall, it was pretty cool. It was a pretty neat thing. I mean, we probably wouldn't do it again unless you can easily get 500 miles on a charge. Until they can get to that point, it's not really worth it, because I could only get like 150 real miles. Now that means
Wow.
even if I'm going 80 miles an hour, but then it'll tell you, oh, you're going to arrive at your destination, your next charging station with 1% or 2%. You're like,
oh shit, that's cutting it close.
But it's really accurate. And so what I found myself doing is, here I'm going in Kansas, and I'm literally driving 60 miles an hour, and everybody else is cruising by me at 75, so I can get to my next charging station. At least I don't care if it's at 2%, but I don't want to see it continue to trend down on any. It needs to be even, or it needs to be going up slightly. So then you'd have to slow down and
yeah, you're playing a game the whole way.
Yeah, kind of is kind of how it works. But what was really cool is the windshield comes all the way back over the back of your head. So when you're looking, you can see a whole panorama up in front of you. It's like nothing. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. It's
You
really
like the
cool.
car of
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. I did like it, but again, the range was a problem. But if if you're just charging it at home and you're just running around
Yeah.
here, but like to go up to Centralia, we'd have to charge, and it's 180
time.
miles,
Yeah.
180 miles, and we'd have to charge. We wouldn't have to charge very long, like 10 minutes, because then we'd get home, and then because we charged it at home anyway. But anyway, it's a pretty neat experience, and I think that I'm actually looking at a company right now um, that's working. There's a couple companies. One's Envision, I think it's called Envision, and they're working on Class 8 trucks, big
Okay.
trucks, in other words, to for self driving and whatnot. And so, to me, it's interesting from
Yeah.
an investment perspective and kind
Oh,
of
it's
see
going
what.
there. It'll get there.
Huh, yeah, a lot of charging stations at the Hedgehog's homestead. Well, there's no charging stations at the Hedgehog's homestead, apparently, or not apparently. There isn't,
there is no
unfortunately.
electricity at Hedgehog's.
We're going to be rubbing sticks together and
Uh-oh.
making fire at Hedgehog's homestead. And actually, we're going to probably set ourselves up a little pallet, kind of like a deck, so we can set up a tent. So when it's decent, then we can kind of.
Whenever we miss Portland, we'll just go in the tent.
Well, no, because our tent will be clean.
Tent city out here is.
Yeah, no, our tent will be clean, however, and great. Yes, on the trip there was lots of charging. It took. I don't know. There was charging stations. Well, you can only go 150 miles, and it was 2,300 miles. So the math is 18 or 19, 17. I don't know.
I like
23.
my one.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I like my one Mitsubishi so much that I had since '89. I bought a 95. I'm thinking maybe one day, since I only work a mile away, I'm like, I just want to put like a couple solar panels on top of the camper cap, throw some batteries in the back, do a retro to electric in one of them. And I know that it won't, the solar won't charge it fast enough. But shoot, all I got to do is drive 1 mile, and then it sits all day long. It'll charge while I'm at work. And then, just drive 1 mile back. And so as long as I can get 1 mile, which let's shoot a little higher. Let's say 9 miles. If I could do 9 miles and it just charged with the solar on top, in an 8-hour period, while you're just sitting there, then that would be really cool. That would just, zip back and forth.
It would be. Unfortunately, though, the battery pack and the motor is prohibitively expensive to do something like that.
Hence why I haven't done it.
Yeah.
And the charger and the solar and the panels are getting cheaper now, though.
Thank you, Backwood.
They are, yeah. It'll continue to get cheaper, but I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, just overall, if the thing is if we would have bought that car like 3 months sooner, that's when Tesla was in a big dive. The shares were only a couple hundred. They were like $250, and because again, that's how I invest, is stuff that I like. Because we did the same thing with Amazon back when I used to like Amazon before they became like this other platform that we're on. So we invested in them, and we got out. That was part of what helped us buy the property. But the cool thing is that just with that, if we would have bought that car like 3 months.
See you, Courtney.
Hey, Courtney. See you, Courtney. Bye, Courtney. Have a good night, Courtney. If we would have seen that, because it's kind of like an iPhone, and iPhones, I'm not saying it's the greatest thing ever, the greatest, phone by any means or anything like that. I'm just saying that it moves from, you know, device to device.
Right.
It works.
We like
But
our iPhones.
yeah, and if I would have known, you know, what the car would actually do and kind of how it would perform, you know, one of the things that the amazing thing is acceleration. You want to talk about fast?
Yeah, that's what I hear. I see videos of them stripping them down and dragging them, and they're just blowing people out of the water, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
they throw you back in your seat for sure.
yeah, we didn't have the highfalutin one, but the highfalutin one, I mean, it pushes you back in your seat. I mean, it'll do 0 to 60 in like 2.4 seconds.
Yeah, it's something crazy.
So,
Hi, WD.
which is a lot of fun. Not great for charging or miles, but it's a lot of fun. So, but yeah, it's interesting to see but again, the only point is it went from that $250 all the way to $2,000 a share almost.
Wow.
And then they ended up doing, I think it was a 5-for-1 stock split after that. So I mean, if we had just missed the timing, but I don't know how much
Hey,
we would
Jim.
have put at it, you know, but still we could have put something to it. I mean, I don't know, it might have been, I don't know, 10 or 20,000 bucks, so hopefully.
Yeah.
But you know, that's easy to say now. I
Yeah,
did.
yeah. Hindsight 2020.
Oh yeah, of course. Do you guys know about, it's called DWAC? Probably don't necessarily. You probably know about the news, which is it's Trump's, it's 45's platform, the truth telling
Okay.
platform.
Yeah.
So that's come out right now, and I did a bad thing and I invested in that.
Well,
And
that's not.
it
Might
didn't.
be a huge win.
No. It didn't work out great. We lost $2,000. So
Well, it just started though, didn't it?
It was very volatile.
yeah, it did.
So you
but
got out.
no, I got in high and got out low, which is, you know, the opposite
Right,
of what
right.
you want to do.
Do you think later on it might, like, I know it's not opening until February though, right?
There might be some room for it, but for me personally, and I mean, all our stuff's going to be tied up and working on a house, but the point is that it doesn't fit our profile, because the reason why is because, again, if it's not something we necessarily really believe in, that's the way I look at it. In other words, again, like Ford, she had to have a truck, so we went and bought her a truck, and she loves it, and now
he drives it.
yeah, and now I drive it, so I love it too.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that we really like their products. They do a good job.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's kind of how we invest, is just by looking at those kind of things, stuff that we know, and say, okay, this is going to do well. And Amazon was the same thing. I mean, we bought Amazon. Amazon crashed in 18, crashed. It went down to like $1,000 a share or something. And I was looking at it, and I started investing by that Acorns. You guys know about Acorns, where they say, oh, just invest your spare change, right?
Right.
So I started doing that, and you know, I would round my change up, and I was like, well, that's not really going to do me a whole lot of good. It'll do me some good, but so then I started doing $5 a day, then I started doing $10 a day, then I went to $20 a day, then I went to $100 a day, and so I just kind of kept this going up, and then I was able to build up. Through doing this, I was able to, over a year and some change, is able to build up a little bit, and then we ended up buying. So Amazon had crashed down to about $1,000 a share in late August of 18, or September. And I was looking at it, and I was like, I had some other stuff, and I just wasn't happy with, you know, the return. So I was like, well, I want my money to be doing something. I'll take more risk. And that was the whole hunting thing. If it all goes away, it doesn't matter. Then everyone's going to be screwed equally.
Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people in debt are going to make out like a banshee if the dollar system crashes. because it'll just go back to zero for everybody.
Well, and the interesting thing too is that if you when you have market corrections and you jump out of the market, and then you jump back in, you're trying to time the market, so to speak. The people that have done that, their money would only end up being 1.8x. Now, if you would have stayed in at the Great Depression and you would have just left your money there, because really it was worth virtually nothing anyway. If you left
Right,
your
right.
money there,
Yeah.
yeah. If you left your
Yeah.
money there, you would have been up at 5.8x. So I mean, it's a
Yeah.
huge. You went almost 6 times the money compared to almost 2 times the money just by
Right.
just leaving it. And so, with that being said, I looked at Amazon and I wanted something that would. I was thinking to myself, okay, I bet it'll get back to $2,000 a share. And I was like, okay, well, when it does, then I'll have made like $500 a share. I'm like, well, that's pretty dang awesome, even though I only have a few shares, right? I mean, it would have been
Right.
awesome if we would have had like 1,000 shares, but that would have been a dream, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't, and but we were able to take that, and it didn't go up to 2,000. It went up to, I think we sold it 3,300 a share. So which was great. And so, and that's, are we going to have those again? Probably not, right? Because that's just the timing, the way it worked out
Right.
was great. So
That's what they
anyway,
say to do. Invest in something
yeah, invest in stuff that and invest in stuff that you believe in, I think is probably really the
Yeah.
HFTs, HFTs, hedge fund traders, high frequency traders. Haha. I think that's what he's talking about. No, because guess what? If Rivian, for example, Rivian is just, it's ridiculous because they're trading at, they were last week, they're at almost 100. Yeah, I gotcha. High frequency. That they were at $160 a share. They just you could just start buying their shares last week, and they started at, I don't know if it was 54 or 87, whatever it was, but at any rate, they already last week jumped up to about $160 a share. Then I think by Friday they were down to about 130, but they're still more valuable as a company than Ford or GM. And it's like, these people literally, they've made like 5 trucks.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't make sense. And so high frequency trading, you could make a lot of money, but you have to have money to do that. Because this Rivian, for example, you could have jumped in Rivian in $1 million, let's just say. And you would have already made a tremendous amount of money. And that's what he's referencing as the high frequency traders, because they jump in and out of these positions on these stocks so quickly, because they have these algorithms that will execute and say, okay, look, our algorithm tells us this is going to happen, or this news piece, here's how it's going to impact. And these guys, they pay guys millions of dollars to sit here and write these programs to be able to do this. These computers jump in and out of these trades so fast that they're in it for 5 seconds, or they're in it for 5 minutes, whatever that is. So really
set up in their algorithm
it's gaming the system is what it really is doing. So that doesn't help us probably. So at any rate.
Anyways.
So it's been great talking to you guys.
Yeah, it's been really.
I'm way past my bedtime.
I got one last question.
Yes.
Whenever you're coming down, you probably won't. You probably stay up higher and then go down through St. Louis to get to Nashville. But if you're coming along I-40 for any reason, say for snow or something like that, you hear there's weather up there and you duck down further and you're coming out I-40 to come to El Reno through, we're 1 less than a mile off the highway or a mile off the highway,
Oh, nice.
stop in and get yourself an onion burger with us. All right.
Yeah.
An onion burger?
Or you stay the night if you want to save a hotel or something, and the timing arrives. But if you're on a schedule where you got to make tracks, we understand too, and we just say hi to you for 5 minutes or something like that too.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
whatever. If you're coming out I-40, you got a place to stay, or we'll get you an onion burger for lunch or dinner.
Oh,
Onion burger, love.
yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll actually be headed out of here. We're gonna do like the U-Pack. So they'll come and bring the van,
Mhm.
and then we'll load up the van, and then it'll cross country itself. So we'll be loaded up in the old pick 'em up truck, and we'll be headed that way. So we have to be out of here. I won't say on here, but we have to be out of
Right.
here, January. And so we'll be headed that way. Mid-January. We'll just
Okay.
say that.
All right.
So we'll definitely keep that open. And I mean, you said you're only a day drive away. That's pretty good. Because
Yeah.
for me, a day drive is from Tennessee to Portland. That's a day drive.
Yes.
But
We're
I'm not very smart, and my shoulder still hurts from. In May, I did that, and my shoulders, my shoulder still hurts.
He just wanted to get home to me.
Memphis is an 8-hour drive for us.
Oh, an 8-hour drive.
500 miles to Memphis.
Oh, to Memphis. You don't want to stop there by any means.
No, I'm just saying I don't want you to give out where your
Oh,
location is.
yeah.
To Memphis is
Why don't we say
8
goodbye
hours.
to the chat, and then if you guys can
Yeah.
hang
All right.
on a minute.
Yep.
All right, you guys, thank you for coming out, and
Yep.
go check out
Nice.
Two Old People on the Couch if you don't know them already. And you guys have a great evening, and God bless.
And good night. Going to sleep.